Hi, I'm Louisa from Little Black Pig, and today I'm going to show you how to make an egg frittata using some stinging nettles. We're in day 14, I think, of lockdown in France. We're beginning to run out of some fresh vegetables, and so we're going to go and scavenge some from the garden. Follow me. So this is my lovely stinging nettle bed. It's just outside my front door, so it's really easy to access. And all you want to do, firstly, put your rubber gloves on. These are not my gardening gloves, these are my kitchen gloves. So I don't want to use gardening gloves because I'm going to be eating this. I don't want to accidentally put more soil onto a plant because of a health hygiene risk. So if you have a look here, you've got at the top of the plant, you've got these nice little tender leaves, and I'm just pinching those off, and I'm going to do that on all the tops of these plants. Now, stinging nettles, there's a clue in the word, they do sting, hence I've got the gloves on. They're really full of iron, and so they're a great substitution for a green vegetable in your frittata. So if you thought of maybe doing a cheese and spinach frittata, you could do cheese and nettle. A lot of people use nettles for soup. That's quite a common one. You can also use it to make pesto instead of basil. I was trying to think of the word then. I can only think of it in French sometimes. I think what my English words are these days. Okay, there's a few more. I'll do a few more. Nettle is also a really good plant because ladybirds like to lay their eggs in the nettles, and the ladybird larva hatches out on them. So please don't mow down your nettles, because they're actually an essential part of gardening. Okay, maybe just a few more, and then I'm going to head over to my bathtub garden. I'm going to head over to the bathtub garden where I'm going to go and get some chives and some leeks. Okay, follow me. My bathtub garden. For about 5 years I've had a collection of bathtubs. I've been slowly building them up. I do lasagna layering in them, which I'll explain to you another day maybe. Here I've got some leeks. I planted them in September, October time. So I'm just going to plant these up, dig these up. To dig them, obviously they're really hard to get out of the ground sometimes, so I've watered it beforehand. I'm just loosening up the soil before I tug them out. If you tug too hard, sometimes they break in half, and then you lose all the nice white bits inside the soil. Okay. Oh yes, nice. I'm going to bang the soil down because I want as much soil as possible to stay in my bathtub. Oh, a potato. New potato. Okay, before I bring the leeks into the kitchen, because they're still covered in soil, I'm going to rinse them off here, but over the bathtub, so I'm saving water because the rinsed water will go back in the bathtub, and all the soil that comes off will obviously go back into the bathtub too, so nothing's wasted. Get some chives from my bathtub. The chives are going to add some flavour into the frittata, and this plant here I bought ages ago it was one of those that was seen better days in a supermarket. They were getting rid of them, and so I just chucked it in the ground and it's recovered. Luckily on this I've got two lovely little flowers. If you see these heads here, they're absolutely edible. They're full of flavour. I mean, they're the most chivy flavour you can imagine. So those into my frittata will add a little bit of a punch. So you go, there's my chives, my nettles and my leeks. And then we'll go and head back into the kitchen and go and start cooking. Okay, so I'm just going to start the frittata by sweating off some onions and some garlic. I've got some leftover bacon fat in the pan after cooking brunch this morning, which I love to cook with. However, if you're vegetarian or vegan, obviously olive oil or butter is your alternative. I'm going to sweat these off. The onion is going to cook for a few minutes first before the garlic. Otherwise the garlic, if it's cooked at the beginning, it will get bitter because it cooks too quickly. Okay. And I'm just going to put this into the food processor. So now, in order to chop the stinging nettles, I'm just going to pop them in the food processor directly so I don't have to touch them, and give them a quick blitz. Okay, so I've added the onions and the leeks, and I've let them sweat off with the nettle for about 5 to 6 minutes with a good pinch of salt. And then I'm going to add the eggs mixed in and let that cook for a few minutes. Turn the heat up a little bit now. And then once this starts to coagulate, I'll put it into a mould and pop it in the oven. Transfer it. Lovely. Mix that up nicely. And then with my chives, I'm just going to chop and decorate and put them on top. Nice and easy. I've got these kitchen scissors. And then these little heads, as I said, are really tasty, so they can just go to be part of my decoration. There we go, they can go in the middle. And then all you need to do is pop it in the oven for about 20 minutes on 180 centigrade fan assisted, and it should come out nice and golden. We'll have a look at it later. Okay, so let's take a look at what we've got left on the butcher's block. I hate waste. Everything has got a second purpose in my view. So I have kept the water from rinsing the leeks and the nettles. So this can be reused as there's no salt in it. It can be used to water the seedlings outside. I have green leaf from the leeks, which is good enough to make stock. So if you haven't got enough vegetables immediately to make stock, you can just pop this in the freezer and bring it out when you have enough to make up a big stock pot. These are the leftover scraps that aren't pretty enough to use for stock. They're quite damaged. So these are perfect to go into your compost heap, to go into your lasagna layering compost bed as well. And then these little babies, your leek roots, if you wash these really well, saving the water obviously for your seedlings, you can dry these out and then tempura batter them, and then you've got leek root crisps. Zero waste.